All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling a huge name in the crypto space, Ethereum. But here's the thing. If you think it's just another digital currency, you're in for a surprise. It's so much more than that.
So, you've probably heard of Bitcoin, right? Everyone calls it digital gold or digital money, and that's a pretty good way to think about it. But that leads to a really interesting question. If Bitcoin is digital money, what in the world is Ethereum?
And right away, here's the first huge concept we got to get. Ethereum was never meant to be just another Bitcoin. From the very beginning, back in 2013, it was designed to be something totally different. It's not just a currency, it's a platform.
Okay, so instead of thinking of it like a digital dollar, imagine it's more like a global computer. Yeah, a computer that isn't owned by anyone and is running all over the world. It's a foundation, right? Something developers can build on top of. So you're not just sending money around. You're running programs and building apps that, get this, can't be turned off or censored by anyone.
So, a global computer, how does that even work? Well, it all boils down to one single core idea. This is kind of the brain of the whole operation. And trust me, this is the part that changes everything.
It's all about this idea of self-executing code that removes intermediaries. That's the magic ingredient. This code, we call it a smart contract, and its whole job is to automatically enforce an agreement. You don't need a middleman anymore. It just happens.
So what is a smart contract? At its core, it's just a program, a bit of code that lives on the blockchain. Think of it like a superpowered if this, then that statement. If a certain condition is met, then the contract automatically does what it's supposed to do. No lawyers, no banks, nobody in the middle has to approve it. It just works.
You know what a perfect real-world example is? A vending machine. Seriously, the rules are already coded into it, right? If you put in $2 and if you press B4, then the machine automatically spits out your bag of chips. There's no manager standing there checking your money and handing you the snack. The machine does it all. That's a smart contract.
Okay, so we've got this global computer running these unstoppable smart contracts. But what makes it go? What's the fuel? And to answer that, we have to talk about a huge, massive upgrade that happened not too long ago.
The fuel for the network is its own native token, Ether, or ETH for short. Anytime you do anything on the network, run an app, make a transaction, you have to pay a little fee. They call it gas, and you pay for that gas with Ether. It's what pays for all the computing power needed to keep the whole thing running and secure.
Okay, so for a long time, keeping this network secure took an absolutely insane amount of computing power, and that meant a ton of energy, a real problem. But then, in 2022, something truly historic went down. The entire network got this massive, incredibly complex upgrade. It was called the merge.
So what was the merge? Well, it was a complete switch in how the network operates. It moved from the old energy-guzzling system known as proof of work to a new, way more efficient system called proof of stake. The big change? Instead of securing the network with massive computer farms, it's now secured by people who have an economic stake, basically skin in the game.
And the result? I mean, this is just mind-blowing. Overnight, literally overnight, the network's energy use dropped by more than 99%. No, that's not a typo. A 99% drop. People have said it was one of the single biggest decarbonization events in the history of any industry. Just wow.
All right, so now we have this super efficient, programmable, global computer. That's cool and all, but what do you do with it? What are people actually building? Okay, this is where the fun really starts.
The whole ecosystem has just exploded. I mean, there are thousands of these decentralized apps, or DApps, built on Ethereum. You've got DeFi, which is decentralized finance. Think banking without the banks. You've got NFTs, which I'm sure you've heard about. There are these things called DAOs, which are totally new ways for people to organize online. And of course, there's gaming, digital identity. The list just goes on and on.
So what does that actually feel like for a user? Well, you can use a platform like Uniswap, for example, to trade digital assets directly with someone else, peer-to-peer. The smart contract acts as the middleman, the automated escrow service. There's no big company in the middle taking a huge fee or telling you what you can and can't trade.
Okay, let's pull back for a second and look at the really big picture here. Because all these apps, all these smart contracts, they aren't just separate little projects. They're all pieces of a much bigger idea.
The grand vision is this. Ethereum is meant to be the operating system for what people are calling Web 3. And what's Web 3? It's the idea of a new internet. One that's owned by us, the users and the builders, instead of being controlled by just a handful of giant tech companies. It's a total rethink of who owns and controls things online.
So you see, Ethereum isn't just digital money. It's this programmable, decentralized world computer that's already the engine for a brand new digital economy. Which leaves us with a really exciting, really powerful question to chew on. If we can build an internet that's actually ours, what are we going to build on it?